Chapter 980. Ning Fan forcefully ascended the origin bridge despite suffering severe injuries. His white robes were covered in blood. He was injured by the blood shackles on his body. This was still the result of him having the protection of the God-exterminating shield. Without it, Ning Fan would probably have been killed by the soul blood shackles the moment he ascended the origin bridge. The sound of the bugle horn echoed in his ears. As soon as it sounded, a ray of white light suddenly flew out from the first step of the origin bridge under Ning Fan's feet and turned into a white lotus in front of him. It was obviously a snow-like lotus, but it had a terrifying temperature. That kind of temperature was not considered hot to the people of the Yang world. However, to the people of the Yin world, it was a heat that their lives could not touch. Extreme Yang. It was a white lotus that was filled with extreme Yang power. It was extremely similar to the white lotus formed by carp eyes. However, the extreme Yang power it contained was much more than carp eyes. What made Ning Fan especially surprised was that there were actually 2 lotus seeds on the white lotus. As soon as the lotus seeds appeared, the entire space trembled slightly as if it could not withstand the enormous energy contained in the lotus seeds. Bridge god Gujiang said before that if one ascends the origin bridge, he or she will receive a reward for every step he or she takes. Each of the 12 origin bridges has different rewards. The reward for the first bridge is a white lotus. There are also some people who are very lucky and obtained a white lotus with lotus seeds. The extreme yang in the white lotus can help cultivators to open their eyes further and obtain the recognition of heaven. The lotus seeds, on the other hand, have other uses. These lotus seeds have a name in the 3 great true worlds called the lotus seed of absolute beginning. It has the miraculous effect of helping cultivators cultivate to the void palm realm. However, according to what bridge god Gujiang said, even the luckiest cultivator from the true world will not be rewarded with a lotus seed for every step he or she takes. Moreover, they will only be rewarded with 1 seed at a time. Those who can obtain a lotus seed on the first step of the bridge are less than 1 in 10,000. When I first ascended the bridge, I was rewarded with a lotus seed. Moreover, I was rewarded with 2 seeds at a time. But why? Even though I am the sinful cultivator that Gujiang mentioned, the reward I obtained is actually more than the others. Ning Fan pondered for a while. What he did not know was that the so-called sinful cultivator was just an insulting title that the Dao Han clan used to refer to the 10 types of cultivators. Zhi Xiu was a 4th-tier cultivator that the Dao Han clan rejected. The Dao Han race was in charge of the heavens, so they issued orders on behalf of the heavens that forbade cultivators from approaching the origin bridge. In reality, the origin bridge didn't discriminate against cultivators trying to climb the bridge. In fact, it even welcomed cultivators trying to climb the bridge. The rewards they offered were also far more generous than other cultivators. This was probably the special benefit of being a tenacious cultivator. 2 absolute beginning lotus seeds. Could it be that this child is actually a Zhi Xiu? Bridge god Gujiang had rich experience and guessed inwardly. Ning Fan did not immediately take the second step. Instead, he kept away the white lotus and lotus seeds that the origin bridge had rewarded him and refined them on the spot. The white lotuses and lotus seeds rewarded by the origin bridge could only exist for a short period of time. If they were not refined on the spot, they would vanish from the world, a waste. The refining process lasted for about a quarter of an hour. After refining the extreme yang in the white lotus, Ning Fan was still unable to break free from the shackles and opened his eyes. His extreme yang was still far from enough. On the other hand, the 2 absolute beginning lotus seeds were of greater help to him. After consuming the lotus seeds, the rain star point, battle star point, dark star point and the wood star point in his right eye emitted a burning sensation at the same time. After that, the power of the palm realm contained in the 4 types of yin and yang actually increased by more than a few times. This child actually has 4 types of palm realm power. Moreover, after consuming the lotus seeds, the power of each of them has reached 10 Ling Jun. All 4 types of palm realm power can be considered as having small success in the palm realm. Bridge god Gujiang was speechless. It was rare to see a cultivator with 4 types of palm realm power. Ling Jun was a quantifier in the 3 great true worlds. It could be used to determine the amount of palm realm power a cultivator possessed. If the power of a Dao law is cultivated to its limit, it would produce the power of a palm realm Dao law. If the power of a palm realm Dao law reaches 10 Ling Jun, it would be considered as having small success in the palm realm. If it reaches 100 Ling Jun, it would advance to the middle realm of the palm realm, and 500 Ling Jun would be considered as having grand success in the palm realm. Theoretically, a cultivator would be able to cultivate the palm void realm starting from the middle realm of the palm realm. Only a great emperor who possessed the palm void realm could be considered as a great emperor of the palm realm. In the past, Ning Fan could barely exert a small amount of palm realm power by relying on the cultivation method of the chaotic loop art. The power of a single type of palm realm power contained within a single type of yin and yang was probably less than half Ling Jun. A single absolute beginning lotus seed could increase the power of a palm realm by 20 Ling Jun. 2 seeds would be 40 Ling Jun. When they were distributed among the 4 types of palm realm power, the power of each type of palm realm would increase by 10 Ling Jun. Unfortunately, the ancient God Heart Aperture could only increase the power of a spiritual item that could increase one's cultivation base. It had no effect on the absolute beginning lotus seed. Otherwise, Ning Fan could have gained even more power. Ning Fan had already heard about the classification of the small success, middle realm and grand success realm from Gu Jiang. Even though he did not have much of an understanding of the quantifier Ling Jun, he could roughly estimate that his 4 types of palm realm power had already reached the small success realm. Ning Fan turned his hand and summoned the memory-severing Dao sword. The 4 types of palm realm Dao laws coiled around the Dao sword. He stared at the Dao sword carefully and nodded to himself. By coiling 4 types of ordinary Dao laws, the power of the Dao sword would increase by more than a few times. Now, the Dao laws coiling around the Dao sword were even purer and contained a total of 40 Ling Jun of palm realm power. The power of this sword was at least 2 times stronger than before. The increase in the power of the palm realm did not increase Ning Fan's cultivation base. Instead, it significantly increased his combat power. Should I take the second step? Ning Fan only hesitated for a moment before he made up his mind. He took the second step on the first bridge of origin. More blood mist burst out from his body. The first bridge of origin itself had a force that prevented the cultivators from moving forward. It was like a test. If they could not withstand this force, they would be injured and find it hard to move forward. At this moment, this force overlapped with the power of the Dao Soul blood shackles on Ning Fan's body. It actually severely injured Ning Fan's primordial spirit in an instant, causing nearly 1/3 of his primordial spirit to fall into an illusion. Severe injuries. It was definitely severe injuries. To cultivators, injuries on the primordial spirit were far more difficult to heal than injuries on the physical body. This was the result of Ning Fan's primordial spirit being protected by the God Exterminating Shield. If Ning Fan did not have the God Exterminating Shield, Mu Song would also suffer a severe injury to his primordial spirit. Another 500 Ling Jun was deducted. This brat from the Yin world actually dares to take the second step. Does he not want to live anymore? Isn't he afraid of being killed by the Dao Soul shackles? Bridge God Gu Jiang felt distressed. If Ning Fan took another step on the bridge, he would have to deduct another 500 Ling Jun's merit points. How could he not feel distressed? You have the Dao Soul blood lock. Even if you have supreme-grade Khanate Dharma treasures to protect you, you will not be able to completely offset the damage from the blood lock. With every step you take, you will be injured. If your injuries are serious enough, your Dao foundation will be damaged. If it's serious enough, you will lose your life. Sigh, turn back. Don't walk forward anymore. Although the reward from the origin bridge is important, you have to be alive to get it. Listen to my advice and turn back. If you don't turn back and walk forward, you will lose my merit points. Thank you for your concern, Senior. I know what I'm doing. Ning Fan wiped off the trace of blood at the corner of his lips and kept the reward of the origin bridge after taking the second step. When he thought about how he wanted to kill Gu Jiang just now, he felt a little guilty. This bridge god Gu Jiang actually cared about me regardless of what happened in the past. He's really a broad-minded person. I'm not concerned about you. I'm concerned about my own merit points. Gu Jiang, who was inexplicably labeled as a good person, felt gloomy. It was because after Ning Fan refined the reward of the second step, he took the third step. Another 500 Ling Jun was deducted. For the second step, Ning Fan still obtained a white lotus and 2 lotus seeds as a reward. It was the same for the third step. After taking the third step, the illusory degree of Ning Fan's primordial spirit had already reached 2/3 of its original state. If he takes the fourth step, his primordial spirit would probably collapse and he would die. The third step was already his current limit. Even with the God Exterminating Shield, he could not go any further. After consuming another 2 extreme young white lotuses, Ning Fan still could not open his eyes. On the other hand, after consuming 4 lotus seeds in a row, his 4 types of Palm Realm power all broke through to the level of 30 Ling Jun. When the 4 types of Palm Realm power superimposed, it had already exceeded 120 Ling Jun. It was slightly stronger than some Palm Realm immortal emperors who are at the middle stage of the Palm Realm. Unfortunately, a single type of Palm Realm power could not reach the middle stage of the Palm Realm. Otherwise, it was highly possible for Ning Fan to attain the initial stage of the Palm Realm. Little friend from the Yin world, you won't take the fourth step, right? Gu Jiang wanted to cry but had no tears. He was really afraid that Ning Fan would continue to take the fourth step. I won't go any further. The third step is already my limit. Seeing that Gu Jiang was concerned about him again, Ning Fan's tone became much friendlier. I'm really not concerned about you. Forget it. I won't explain any further. Anyway, the 1-hour time limit is almost up. I can withdraw my projection back to the illusory world. This time, the projection to the illusory world was really a painful experience. Gu Jiang did not want to descend to this illusory world for the rest of his life. The 12 origin bridges gradually became illusory. Soon, they disappeared from the profound Yin world along with the heavenly sound of the bugle. The scenery in front of Ning Fan returned to the profound Yin world. The first thing he did was to use a Millennium Tower to heal his injuries. The injuries caused by the Tao Soul blood shackles were really terrifying. There was actually a terrifying will of the heavens that kept tearing Ning Fan's primordial spirit, causing his cultivation base to temporarily decline due to his injuries that had yet to fully heal. Without 1,000 years, Ning Fan did not have the confidence to heal his injuries at all. Thus, he had no choice but to go into seclusion immediately. When he walked out of the Millennium Tower, his injuries had already fully healed. His cultivation base had also returned to normal. It was already very rare for him to be able to draw the origin bridge down and take 3 steps on it without opening his eyes. Perhaps, he would not have such an opportunity again. If he wants to draw the origin bridge down again, he would have to break free from the shackles and open his eyes. Open my eyes, I wonder how much more extreme yang I need. Ning Fan shook his head. Extreme yang was something that only existed in the true world. In the illusory world, there were very few things that contained extreme yang. The carp eye in the golden sky and black map did contain a lot of extreme yang. Unfortunately, after the previous experience of entering the map, it was highly likely that he would be targeted by the ferocious creatures in the depths of the painting world the moment he enters the map again. Even if he brings the black cat Jioli with him, he might not be able to escape unscathed. Besides, he no longer had a second talisman brush from the Golden Talisman Palace. If he wants to enter the golden sky and black map again, he could only do so with his primordial spirit. He could not bring the black cat along, forget it. I'll put aside the matter of extreme yang and the matter of opening my eyes for now. It's time to leave the wooden island. There were some things that Ning Fan had yet to figure out. However, he could only figure them out in the future. He left the profound Yin world in a flash. As soon as he returned to the outside world, his eyes immediately narrowed. At this moment, there were many people gathered outside his room. There were Daoist Mu Song, Xiang Bozi, Old Wu Ba and the other disciples of the Wooden Island. Besides them, there was also Lu Feng and a red-robed venerated immortal lord with an unfriendly expression. "Oh. Why are all of you gathered outside my room? Is Big Brother here as well?" Ning Fan walked out of the guest room of the monastery and smiled at Lu Feng. His eyes were filled with inquiry. Lu Feng nodded his head. Seeing this, Ning Fan's heart shuddered. He finally understood. It seems like this red-robed venerated immortal lord is a member of the Southern Clan. Previously, when Ning Fan went to the Godly Void Pavilion, he had a deep conversation with Lu Feng. At that time, Lu Feng told Ning Fan a piece of bad news. The Southern Clan found out that someone was impersonating a member of their clan. It was not Lu Feng who told them about it. Instead, it was a deduction made by a powerful old ancestor of the clan. This incident happened about 10 years after Ning Fan entered the ancient wild region. In the past, Ning Fan had stolen the Gu command token of the Southern Clan. This incident was connected to heaven and earth and was connected to karma. It could hide it from most people in the world, but it could not hide it from those old monsters who were proficient in deduction. Coincidentally, that old monster managed to deduce this incident. After knowing that someone actually dared to impersonate a member of the Southern Clan, that old ancestor of the Southern Clan was naturally enraged. Following the karma, he found Lu Feng and used a secret technique to search his memories. Only then did he understand the whole story of how Ning Fan impersonated a cultivator of the Southern Clan. What a great reign, immortal monarch! How dare you impersonate a member of the Southern Clan? Don't you know that this is a great taboo of our Southern Clan? Fortunately, at that time, the fact that Ning Fan was the successor of ancient chaos had almost spread across the entire Eastern Heaven. That old ancestor of the Southern Clan was wary of Ning Fan's reputation as the successor of ancient chaos. Thus, he did not dare to openly deal with Ning Fan. Moreover, Ning Fan had not shown up in the Eastern Heaven for a long time. Thus, he temporarily put this matter aside. Unexpectedly, after another 10 years, a huge incident happened in the ancient wild region. As one of the 10 great secret clans, the Southern Clan naturally had the means to find out the inside story. 2 great cultivators from the ancient times actually appeared in the ancient wild region and they engaged in a life and death battle. One of them was called Zhao Jian. He was a mysterious cultivator with silver hair and a ghost face. As soon as they heard this news, the entire Southern Clan could not remain calm. Zhao Jian was the name of the member of the Southern Clan that Ning Fan impersonated. According to the first-hand information obtained by the old ancestors of the Southern Clan, the great cultivator from the ancient times in the ancient wild region, Zhao Jian, was exactly the same as Ning Fan. Impossible. This young man is obviously the successor of ancient chaos. He's just an unknown life immortal realm junior. How could he be the great cultivator from the ancient times whose name shook the entire ancient wild region? Many of the old ancestors of the Southern Clan could not believe this, but they could not verify it. After that, another 2 years passed and Ning Fan returned to the Eastern Heaven with unparalleled strength. 100 years ago, Ning Fan was just a life immortal realm expert. 100 years later, however, he actually possessed the cultivation base of an immortal venerable realm expert. The old monsters of the Southern Clan did not believe that Ning Fan could cultivate from the life immortal realm to the immortal venerable realm in just 100 years. Did he really think that immortal venerables of the past were as common as cabbages? If one could achieve that level in just 100 years, why would there be so many memory-breaking old monsters who had spent millions or tens of millions of years to reach this level? Obviously, Ning Fan's cultivation base did not increase. Instead, he had always had this cultivation base. His previous cultivation base at the life immortal realm was just an illusion. No, it was highly possible that even his immortal venerable realm cultivation base was just an illusion. The cultivation base of an ancient great cultivator was Ning Fan's true cultivation base. Therefore, most of the old monsters of the southern clan chose to believe that Ning Fan was a great cultivator from the ancient times who was hiding his cultivation base. The things he did in the eastern heaven and the reputation that he gained from the rumors were probably all fake. Even his name might be fake. However, there were still a small number of old monsters of the southern clan who felt that Ning Fan was not the same person as the great cultivator from the ancient wild region, Zhao Jian. Even so, those old monsters of the southern clan did not dare to do anything harmful to Ning Fan. What if? If Ning Fan was really a great cultivator from the ancient times, even the southern clan would not be able to withstand his wrath. Even if Ning Fan was not a great cultivator from the ancient times, he was still the successor of ancient chaos. His master was still alive. Who would dare to suppress him with force? Even the dark race who held hostility against Ning Fan would not dare to do so. None of the old monsters of the southern clan dared to touch Ning Fan. However, they also could not just brush off the fact that Ning Fan was pretending to be a member of the southern clan. After all, they were a dignified secret race. Even if the other party was a great cultivator from the ancient times, the old monsters of the southern clan still had to seek justice for him. Of course, if the other party was really a great cultivator from the ancient times, the so-called justice would just be a formality. All they needed to do was to slightly maintain the reputation of the southern clan and let others know that no one could pretend to be a member of the southern clan. That way, they would not really become enemies with Ning Fan. As soon as Ning Fan went to the divine tomb, LV Feng told him the whole story. One had to admit that LV Feng, this sworn brother of his, was really worth befriending. Even when facing the questions of the old ancestors of the southern clan, LV Feng did not say anything that was unfavorable to Ning Fan. Unfortunately, his memories were searched by someone. Otherwise, he would not have exposed so many things. LV Feng was very worried about Ning Fan's situation. His network was not as good as the southern clan. Thus, he did not know the details of the great battle in the wilderness. He did not know that Ning Fan's ghost-like silver hair matched the great cultivator from the wilderness. From the conversation between the old monsters of the southern clan, LV Feng heard words like, "Could this young man really be a great cultivator from the ancient times?" or, "Does this young man really have the cultivation base of a great cultivator from the ancient times?" Apparently, the old monsters of the southern clan suspected that his sworn brother was a great cultivator from the ancient times. Besides, they also reckoned that great Emperor Ancient Chaos was on the verge of Tao extinction. Thus, they did not dare to use force against him. This is troublesome. Isn't this really troublesome? How could his sworn brother, Ning Fan, possibly be a great cultivator from the ancient times? If the southern clan finds out the truth and Ancient Chaos dies, no one would be able to protect Ning Fan anymore. LV Feng, who was born in the southern clan, naturally knew how terrifying the southern clan was. That enormous foundation was enough to make any immortal king or immortal emperor tremble in fear, let alone Ning Fan, who was not even an immortal king yet. Honestly, when LV Feng first found out that Ning Fan was not a member of the southern clan, he felt a little cheated. In the beginning, when he befriended Ning Fan, he indeed had the thought of utilitarianism. However, after that, Ning Fan gave him some pointers which allowed his cultivation base to recover rapidly. In the past, when his cultivation base was crippled by Sun Luo, he had already recovered half of it in just 100 years. Today, Lu Feng had sincerely regarded Ning Fan as his brother. He was not a good person, but he was a very simple person. If others were to treat him well, he would treat them well. If others were to treat him badly, he would kill their entire family and their entire clan. Since Ning Fan treated him well, he naturally regarded Ning Fan as his sworn brother. When he found out that Ning Fan was standing on the opposite side of the southern clan, he gritted his teeth and stood on Ning Fan's side. "Brother Ning, do you really have a way to deal with the southern clan?" LV Feng pondered for a moment and asked through telepathy. "Don't worry, big brother. It's not difficult." Ning Fan replied with telepathy as well. Ning Fan still had a way to make the southern clan think that he was a great cultivator from the ancient times. As long as he used the god-exterminating shield, which was a heaven-opening divine tool, and made some arrangements, he should be able to make some of the old monsters of the southern clan believe that he was a great cultivator from the ancient times. That was Ning Fan's initial thought. Now that he saw the people of the southern clan, his belief became even stronger. The eyes of the red-robed immortal venerated lord were filled with hostility. If it wasn't for the fact that he was a great cultivator from the ancient times being exposed, there would certainly be many people in the southern clan who would harbor such hostility towards him. Impersonating a member of the southern clan was a taboo of the southern clan. There were no lack of stubborn old men in the southern clan. It was totally possible for them to kill Ning Fan just because of this taboo. He had already become enemies with the Dark Clan. If there is another southern clan, Ning Fan was not afraid of trouble. However, if he could avoid some trouble, who would be willing to be involved in it? Little friend Ning, you. Mu Song and Xiang Bozi had something to ask Ning Fan. Naturally, they were asking about the heavenly sound of the bugle. Unfortunately, before the two quasi-saints could finish their words, the red-robed immortal venerated lord of the southern clan could not wait any longer. He said to Ning Fan with an arrogant expression. You are Ning Fan. Humph. I am the second young emperor of the barbarian tribe of the southern clan. You, follow me back to the southern clan. Don't resist. Otherwise, don't blame me for being merciless. Is this kid retarded? Everyone including Old Wu stared at the red-robed young man as if they were looking at an idiot. Even if you are an immortal venerated lord of the southern clan, you can't just snatch the conversation between two quasi-saints, right? Let alone Mu Song, just Xiang Bozi alone. Any first-level quasi-saint of the secret race would have to address him politely as fellow Taoist. You, on the other hand, are just an immortal venerated lord of the southern clan. How dare you snatch the conversation between two quasi-saints? Do you really think that the southern clan can cover the sky with one hand in the eastern heaven? The people of the Wooden Island were not afraid of the southern clan. They knew about their master's formidable battle records. He had once fought against 3 quasi-saints of the Dark Clan alone. How domineering was that? Old Wu was also not afraid of the southern clan. The southern clan? Just by squatting in front of their door, they would have to spend money to invite him away. Ning Fan was also speechless. Didn't the southern clan suspect that he was a great cultivator from the ancient times? Which old monster whose cultivation base had reached the 10,000 ancient realm wasn't cautious? If Ning Fan had a trace of possibility of being a great cultivator from the ancient times, there wouldn't be any inconspicuous people who would come to find trouble with him, right? Even if he really wants to invite Ning Fan to the South Clan, he should be extremely polite. Isn't he afraid that something might happen when he opens his mouth in such a rude manner? Could this red-robed celestial supremacy be a cultivator from one of those clans? You haven't had much experience in the world, and you haven't experienced the deceit of the cultivation world. You've been taking pills to cultivate since you were born. Is that why you're so mentally deficient? Humph, this old man hasn't spoken yet. Is it your turn to speak? Mu Song's expression turned cold. He was originally an eccentric person. It was already rare for him to show Ning Fan a good face. How could he show a good face to any random cat or dog? You, forget it, Senior is right. The red-robed immortal gritted his teeth and admitted defeat to Mu Song, but his tone was very reluctant. As expected, he was an idiot. Even if he was from the southern tribe, he shouldn't have been so rude to Mu Song. Since he was an idiot, then he would torture him properly. If Ning Fan wants the southern clan to believe that he is a great cultivator from the ancient times, he must do something to slightly awe the southern clan. He would use this red-robed venerated immortal lord to put on a show. As an ancient great cultivator, what should he do? After being threatened by this red-robed venerated immortal lord, if he doesn't teach this venerated immortal lord a lesson, he wouldn't be befitting of his identity as an ancient great cultivator. Just as Ning Fan was about to summon the god-destroying giant and crush this unlucky kid to intimidate the southern clan, he suddenly hesitated. This hesitation was not because he was soft-hearted. Instead, it was because he sensed a trace of chi from the red-robed venerated immortal lord's body. The chi of a barbarian cultivator. This red-robed venerated immortal lord is actually a barbarian cultivator. Why are there barbarian cultivators in the four heavens? I heard that the southern clan has 4 tribes which are witchcraft, gu, barbarian and war. This red-robed venerated immortal lord originated from one of the barbarian tribes of the southern clan. Could it be that the barbarian tribes of the southern clan all cultivate the barbarian path? It's also possible that the entire southern clan cultivates the barbarian path. It's also possible that there are only a few barbarian cultivators in the southern clan and this red-robed venerated immortal lord is probably the only barbarian cultivator in the southern clan. Not all of them cultivate the barbarian path. Lu Feng was once a member of the southern clan but he did not have the cultivation base of the barbarian race in his body. In just an instant, Ning Fan went through various guesses in his mind but he could not verify them. However, if this red-robed immortal venerate was a barbaric cultivator, there was no need for him to summon the god-exterminating shield. Ning Fan would be able to intimidate him even more. Berserker, ha, if I'm a berserker, then how should I face the god of berserkers? If I don't go back to the southern clan with you, you are going to be merciless to me, aren't you? Ning Fan turned to the red-robed immortal venerate and asked with an expressionless face. That's right. If you obediently follow me back to the southern clan, then I'll be polite to you. But if you dare to disobey my orders, then I'll let you know that the successor of ancient chaos isn't even worth a fart in my eyes. The red-robed celestial exalt spoke proudly. Then let's see how merciless you are to my subordinates. Scram! Ning Fan suddenly shouted coldly at the red-robed youth. It was a simple word, but it seemed to carry the might of the heavens. At this moment, Ning Fan's will had replaced the heavens and the great Tao of the heavens, becoming the master of all barbarian cultivators in this world. Get lost! Scram! Scram! Without using any cultivation or magic power, a ray of golden light shot into the sky like a gust of wind toward the red-robed celestial sovereign. When it got close, it turned into a golden palm that was as tall as a person and slammed down on the red-robed celestial sovereign. The supreme might contained in the golden light shook everyone's heart. That destructive force instantly destroyed all of the defensive magical treasures and spiritual equipment of the red-robed immortal venerate, including an innate treasure armor. No wonder this man was so arrogant. He even had an innate treasure armor. It was obvious that he was a highly valued existence in the southern clan. However, even the innate treasure armor could not protect the red-robed immortal venerate. In an instant, it was shattered by the golden palm. Then, even his physical body was crushed into a mist of blood. His primordial spirit was extremely shocked. He looked at the golden palm that hit his body with a pale face. The feeling of approaching death was unprecedentedly close. I'll die. I'll die. I'll die. What kind of divine ability is this? This Rain Lord clearly didn't use any magic power. How did he unleash such a terrifying golden palm? I can't resist it, I can't resist it. I've only experienced this feeling in the forbidden area of the clan. Only the South Pole ancestor, who was healing in seclusion, had this kind of cultivation. This is definitely the cultivation of an ancient great cultivator. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Why did I have to be rude to an ancient great cultivator? Why didn't I believe he was an ancient great cultivator? This Rain Lord is definitely an ancient great cultivator who is hiding his cultivation. I can't withstand this golden palm. Not even the first or second rank quasi-sages in the clan can. Only the ancestor, only the ancestor. At the moment of death, the jade pendant on the red-robed immortal venerate's primordial spirit's neck suddenly broke in half. Then, an old figure shot out from the jade pendant. He swung the giant bone club in his hand and collided with the golden palm. Fellow cultivator, please calm down. This is definitely a misunderstanding. The southern clan has no intention of becoming enemies with fellow cultivator. The old man who suddenly dashed out was surrounded by the powerful aura force of a first-level quasi-sage. However, it was not his true body but a clone. However, even with the cultivation of his quasi-saint clone, he couldn't stop the golden palm from descending. His bone club was crushed by the golden palm, and his figure was directly crushed by the golden palm, turning into specks of light that dissipated. Destroying an innate magic treasure and the physical body of an immortal venerate with a single palm strike was not shocking. However, destroying the clone of a quasi-sage with a single palm strike was absolutely shocking. It's Man Daosin's clone. He was actually destroyed by this young man with a single palm strike. Mu Song and Xiang Bozi were shocked. The others might not be able to recognize the clone of a quasi-sage that was instantly destroyed, but how could they not recognize it? Man Daosan was a quasi-sage of the barbarian tribe of the Southern Clan. His true body's cultivation base was almost at the peak of the first-level quasi-sage realm. Even his clone that had been cultivating for many years could be comparable to an ordinary first-level quasi-sage. Was what happened just now real? Ning Fan killed Man Daosin's quasi-sage clone with a single palm strike. Even my old ancestor's clone has been destroyed. I will die. I will die. The red-robed immortal venerate was already in despair. He was dumbfounded by Ning Fan's strength. However, the expected death did not come. When the golden palm struck his primordial spirit, it suddenly turned into a gust of violent wind and blew him hundreds of star regions away from the wooden island. The crowd of cultivators was shocked. I won't kill you, but there won't be a next time. Your identity as the young emperor of the barbarian tribe is not enough. Next time, it will be the quasi-sage of your barbarian tribe who speaks to me. Ning Fan was obviously saying those words on the wooden island. However, with the help of the rain technique, his words were transmitted to the red-robed immortal venerate's ears. Senior, thank you for sparing my life. When I return to the clan this time, I will deliver Senior's decree to the old ancestor of my barbarian tribe. The red-robed immortal venerate was terrified. His primordial spirit cupped his fists towards the direction of the wooden island and ran away with his tail between his legs. It's over. I wonder if my actions have angered this ancient great cultivator. Let's see how the elders of the clan will deal with this matter. In the South Pole Palace of the Southern Clan, 5 quasi-sages of the Southern Clan were sitting in a row with their eyes closed, waiting for something. Suddenly, one of the quasi-sages coughed out blood for no reason. Then, he received the memories of his clone and his face was filled with shock. The person who coughed out blood was Man Daosin's true body. What happened? The other quasi-sages were shocked when they saw Man Daosan coughing out blood. In the entire Southern Clan, other than the old ancestor of the Southern Clan who was still recuperating, the second elder was the second elder of the second-level quasi-sage realm. Man Daosan was the third strongest expert of the Southern Clan. Why did he suddenly cough out blood? It's the Rain Lord. This man is unfathomable. He destroyed my clone with a single palm strike. We must not provoke him. We must not provoke him. As soon as Man Daosan said those words, all the other quasi-sages were shocked. Destroying Man Daosan's clone with a single palm strike. How terrifying is his cultivation base? An ancient great cultivator. The Rain Lord, Ning Fan, is actually that great cultivator from the barbarian tribe. Forget about my clone. I can still get it back after paying some price. However, Man Daosan smiled bitterly. If the Southern Clan becomes enemies with this man because of today's test, it would incur the wrath of an ancient great cultivator. That would be really difficult to resolve. Even if the Great Elder was at his peak, he would not allow the Southern Clan to offend an ancient great cultivator, let alone the fact that the Great Elder was severely injured. Then, if he really gets angry, does our Southern Clan have to lower our heads to him? Are you kidding me? The ancestors of our Southern Clan have always been the guards of the Southern Heavenly Gate of the immortal sovereign realm. There are only cultivators who die in battle and none of us would lower our heads to him. If this Ning Fan doesn't provoke us, we are willing to settle this dispute peacefully. We can even compromise a little. However, if this man goes too far, we will make him pay even if our entire clan has to die in battle. The cultivators of our Southern Clan will never shy away from a battle or death. Of course, it would be better if they could avoid provoking Ning Fan. No one would be willing to make a terrifying enemy for no reason, killing a quasi-sage realm expert with a single palm strike. The few old monsters of the southern clan shuddered in fear. When the red-robed venerated immortal ran back to the southern clan and passed on Ning Fan's message, they began to shift the blame to each other again. Ning Fan said that he would at least send a quasi-saint realm expert from the barbarian tribe over to him next time. Only then would they be qualified to talk to him. That's right. Sending an ancient immortal venerate to look for Ning Fan is a little inappropriate. Then the question is, who is going to talk to Ning Fan? Fourth Elder Nantianhua nonchalantly picked up his teacup and drank for an hour. He didn't finish the cup of tea, as if he was competing with his teacup. He was a sage-to-be of the Gu tribe and did not have the cultivation of the barbarian tribe. The fifth elder, Zhao Wanggong, was constantly pinching his fingers and deducing something. He looked like he was deducing good or bad luck. It was as if this matter had nothing to do with him and he just wanted to stay out of it. Sixth elder Ta Shi and third elder Man Daosan exchanged glances with each other. Neither of them took the initiative to ask for Ning Fan's help. What a joke. What if the negotiation with Ning Fan fails? Should I be killed by Ning Fan with a single palm strike? This was risky, and whoever was stronger would be the one to take it. In the end, it was the second elder, old ancestor Wu Shan, who spoke. Fellow Daoist Ning said to let the sage-to-be of the barbarian tribe talk to him. So, old third and old sixth, choose one of you to go and talk to him. Cough cough. Old sixth, my clone has just been destroyed and my injuries have yet to heal. So. When Man Daosan thought of Ning Fan's terrifying strength, he felt a lingering fear in his heart and looked at Ta Shi pleadingly. When Ta Shi saw his third elder brother who had never begged anyone in his life was looking at him with such a gaze, he let out a long sigh and said, "Fine. I'm a sage-to-be of the barbarian tribe. I'll go and talk to him. At most, I'll just die. There are no cowards in my southern clan." Just as Ta Shi was about to say something righteously, the cold voice of a lady came from outside the hall. "Sixth Grandpa, why don't you let Wei Yu go on your behalf?" A lady in a feather cloak holding an umbrella walked gracefully into the South Pole Hall. This lady was the #1 saintess of the southern clan. Her name was Tantai Wei Yu. It was the same name as a lady whom Ning Fan had met before. However, this lady was different from Tantai Wei Yu whom Ning Fan had met before in terms of appearance, cultivation level, and bone age. Besides, that Tantai Wei Yu was from the Purple Mansion Academy of the Southern Heaven clan while this Tantai Wei Yu was the dignified saintess of the Southern clan. They seemed to be two completely different existences. You? No way. How can we let a little girl like you bear the brunt of the calamity of our Southern clan? Enough said. Third Grandpa will go, but you are not allowed to go. Man Daosan was no longer afraid. He decided to meet Ning Fan. In short, he could not let the little girl Wei Yu die. That Ning Fan was a ferocious man. He dared to destroy someone's physical body and clone just because of a disagreement. He was definitely not a kind person. I'll go. No. Let me go. Let me go. The situation where both sides were pushing each other away actually changed because of Wei Yu's suggestion. Tantai Wei Yu's heart felt warm but she shook her head and said, "No. It's better to let Wei Yu go. You guys don't know this person but I should have some understanding." As she said that, Wei Yu smiled faintly as if she was reminiscing about the past. "You've met Yu Jun before. When was that?" "Ever since you were born, you have never left the territory of the Southern clan which is 100,000 li away. How is it possible for you to have met this person before?" "It's a secret," Tantai Wei Yu smiled slyly. Indeed, she had met him before. That Ning Fan had met her witchcraft gu before. The few grandpas of the quasi-saint realm did not know about this. The discussion of Dao in the past was still deeply engraved in her memory. What a cunning man. He actually pretended to be an ancient great cultivator and scared the few grandpas of the quasi-saint realm. Rain immortal monarch, huh? Others might not know that you came from the rain world but I do. Chapter 981. The news of Ning Fan killing a quasi-saint realm expert had indeed caused a commotion in the southern clan. On the wooden island, the crowd of cultivators was also stunned by Ning Fan's heaven-defying battle record. How could Ning Fan, who was merely an eternal first tribulation immortal venerable, kill a quasi-saint realm expert with a single strike? What kind of ability was that golden palm imprint? How could it have such terrifying power? Was Ning Fan's true cultivation base really just at the eternal first tribulation immortal venerable? Or was he hiding his true cultivation base? Everyone including Taoist Mu Song had their own doubts. Each of them had their own guesses, but none of them dared to ask Ning Fan about it. On the other hand, Xiang Bozi, who had a good relationship with Ning Fan, did not have so many concerns. He secretly asked Ning Fan about it. Ning Fan's answer was that he did not rely on the suppression of his cultivation base to kill Mandaesan's quasi-saint clone. Instead, it was some kind of ability that specialized in subduing the barbarian tribes of the southern clan. Ning Fan sincerely wanted to befriend Xiang Bozi. Thus, he did not hide anything about this matter, but he did not explain it in detail either. This was already enough to astonish Xiang Bozi. Even with his knowledge of the quasi-saint realm, he had never heard of any ability that could allow Ning Fan, who was an immortal venerable, to instantly kill a quasi-saint realm expert. Ridiculous. This matter is just too ridiculous. If he did not see it with his own eyes, he would never believe that such a terrifying ability existed in this world. His attention towards Ning Fan became unprecedentedly high. This young man really has endless means. Perhaps even if I don't help him, he also has a way to resist the Dark Clan. Old Wu was even more excited. Look, what did he say? Acknowledging Ning Fan as his master is indeed the right thing to do. Killing a quasi-saint realm expert with a single strike. Ha! How many people in the four heavens could do this? That scene made Old Wu's blood boil. He became more respectful and fearful of Ning Fan. Master, don't tell me you're a second-level quasi-saint. Are you hiding your cultivation base? Old Wu Ba secretly asked Ning Fan. What do you think? Ning Fan did not deny it. I don't think Master is one. Since Master could kill a second-level quasi-saint, you must have something to rely on. However, it definitely isn't because of the suppression of your cultivation base. Am I right, Little Eight? Old Wu asked with a flattering expression. Little Eight? Ning Fan was slightly stunned. Little Eight is this lowly one. This lowly one is Master's Little Eight. In front of outsiders, this lowly one is Old Wu Eight. But in front of Master, this lowly one is only fit to be Little Wu Eight. Master, Master, you are really too domineering. You killed a quasi-saint with a palm strike. Hee, can you teach this lowly one such divine ability? Old Wu Eight was as docile as a pug. I can't impart this ability to you. However, if you are obedient and follow me loyally, you will naturally receive benefits in the future. Ning Fan said with deep meaning. Sure enough. Master killed the sage-to-be by relying on his divine ability, not his cultivation. Wu Lao Ba secretly confirmed this matter. Suddenly, he was shocked. Master seemed to be deliberately telling him everything. Was this trust? Or a beating? Or perhaps, there was a deeper meaning behind his actions, but Master said that as long as I follow him loyally, there will be plenty of benefits in the future. Old Wu's eyes were burning. So what if his master wasn't a sage-to-be? With such a heaven-defying aptitude, he wouldn't be any worse than Mu Song in the future. In the future, if Master imparts me a few more heaven-defying divine abilities, just wait and see how I, Old Wu Lao Ba, am going to dominate the four heavens. Thus, after this incident, Old Wu's loyalty towards Ning Fan greatly increased. It was indeed an unexpected gain. The trip to the wooden island had come to an end. Ning Fan bid farewell to Taoist Mu Song and made an agreement with him. Then, he returned to the Eastern Ocean Star region. Only LV Wen and Old Wu Lao Ba went with him. Xiang Bozi did not return to the Eastern Ocean Star region. Instead, he went to another place, saying that it was rare for him to come out for a walk and he had to visit a few of his friends. Until Ning Fan and his group left, Taoist Mu Song still did not know whether Ning Fan had opened his eyes or how he killed a sage to be with a palm strike. I'm getting old. I'm really getting old. In the future, there will definitely be a place for this young man in the illusionary world. Now that he is facing the threat of the dark race, if I can lend him a hand, I will certainly be able to form a good relationship with him. In the future, perhaps there will be good results. As soon as Ning Fan left, Mu Song went into seclusion again to prepare for the possible confrontation with the dark race in the future. He swallowed the carp eye to see more of the scenery. After that, he tried to take the 15th step of the origin bridge. If he succeeds, his strength would certainly improve again. Ning Fan returned to the Eastern Ocean Star region once again in order to fulfill his promise to the Luo clan by rescuing the Battle King. Even though he was on the wooden island, he could sense the situation of the Luo clan in the Eastern Ocean with just a thought. The preparations of the Luo clan were already 80 to 90% complete. It was almost time. Along the way, LV1 and Ning Fan had a pleasant conversation. LV1 was a person who would repay kindness and seek revenge for enmity, which was different from Ning Fan. They could be considered to have similar personalities. Moreover, after this incident, LV1 had chosen to stand on Ning Fan's side to deal with the Southern clan. It could be said that he had gone through trials and tribulations together with Ning Fan. Even if they had only known each other for 100 years, they could still be considered as close friends. The threat of the Southern clan has finally subsided. In the future, even if the quasi-saints of the Southern clan come to look for you, they will probably be polite to you out of fear. They won't make things too difficult for you. However, you mustn't underestimate the Southern clan just because of this. Listen to my advice. The cultivators of the Southern clan are the most unyielding. In the words of the mortal world, they are like donkeys. They will be polite to you because they are afraid of you. However, if you push them too far, they will turn into mad dogs and fight you with all their might. Besides, there is still an ancient great cultivator who has yet to recover from his severe injuries in the highest forbidden area of the Southern clan. If the Southern clan sends more people here, don't push them too far. LV1 advised. Don't worry, big brother. I know what I'm doing. You're here to save the Battle King of the Luo clan, aren't you? In recent years, the condition of the Battle King of the Luo clan has been worsening. The Luo clan was forced into a corner. They went around asking for pills and medicines but none of them could save the Battle King. Besides, I heard that many legendary old monsters accepted the invitation of the Luo clan and tried to use their secret techniques to save the Battle King instead of using the war god art of the Luo clan. As a result, most of those old monsters who used their secret techniques to save the Battle King returned with severe injuries. I'm not clear about the details but I've heard that a devil creature has been born in the Battle King of the Luo clan. Saving the Battle King will be quite dangerous. If little brother doesn't have a deep relationship with the Luo clan, it's better for you not to get involved in this mess. Even a few immortal kings have been severely injured by the devil creature inside the Battle King's body. Oh. A devil creature has been born in the Battle King's body? Ning Fan was slightly surprised. However, it was just a slight surprise and nothing more. It would not change his original plan. He was a man of his word. Since he had promised the Luo clan something, he would certainly fulfill it. No matter how powerful that devil creature was, he would not break his promise. That devil creature is said to be at the peak Immortal King realm. Besides, I've also heard that the ancestor of the Luo clan was also an abandoned member of the Southern clan. However, after many generations, the bloodline of the Southern clan in the Luo clan has already become extremely thin. This Luo clan cultivates combat.